Hello everybody, this is AK. I'm back. So I read in the news that Keppel DC REIT reports a 13.7% lower DPU for Q1, and it reminded me of something that a reader wrote to me a few years ago. I think let's see, when was that? That was back in 2017. The reader asked me, just wondering if you are familiar with Keppel DC REIT. I bought into it some time ago, lured by its good potential, but as of last dividend payout, it's one of those cases where NPI, or net property income, went up, but DPU, or distribution per unit, dropped by 20%. Yeah, so even back in 2017, we had a case where Keppel DC REIT's DPU dropped by 20%. There wasn't a pandemic, there's no high interest rates and all that kind of thing, all the negativities, but the DPU dropped by 20%. And the reader said, well, it's not an encouraging sign. It's hard for him, the reader, that's what he said, to see whether they would ever recover that DPU. And I said, I avoided Keppel DC REIT. I didn't invest in it, even though there was a lot of hype around it, and I thought there was too much hype around it. And the price went up so much at one time that people say, oh, AK was being silly for having avoided it. And the distribution yield dropped to a very low level. I just said, oh, there's no accounting for market euphoria, right? And it's just like that. Greed and fear, sentiment driven. But way back in 2015, I was asked on various occasions what I thought of Keppel DC REIT. And I said, well, it was something very new to me, but I decided to dig around, right? And I found out that for Keppel DC REIT, depreciable infrastructure, or infrastructure that will depreciate in value over time, accounts for approximately 70% of the development cost of their assets, with the building shell accounting for the remaining 30% of the cost. So imagine, when we invest in a property, we want to see that property appreciate in value over time. And in Keppel DC REIT's case, only 30% of their asset might see that appreciation over time, whereas 70% of their infrastructure will depreciate over time. Right. And when I found that out, I said there was a very important bit of information for me as an investor in real estate, right? It's an eye-opener, and it's just one line, in a wall of text. And it could quite easily have been missed or even dismissed by potential investors. But I zoom in on that, right? It's just like I said, when we invest in anything, we don't really have to have all the pieces of jigsaw puzzle in place to see the picture. As long as the important pieces of the jigsaw puzzle are in place, we can see the picture, right? So even for seasoned income investors in S-REITs, we would think industrial property REITs are just landlords. Buy, develop industrial property, find a tenant or tenants, and rent it out. And tenants do the business, the REIT managers maintains property, if the building does not have a master tenant, and just collect rent. And then when we think of asset value, we think that the value of the buildings the REIT holds, right? We think it's mostly brick and mortar. And in the case of data center REIT, the asset value, well, it's not just the building, but significantly the high-tech infrastructure within the building. So there's a high-tech infrastructure within the building that makes up 70% of its value. And that infrastructure, the high-tech infrastructure within the building that makes up 70% of its value, depreciates over time, right? Technology will become obsolete over time, right? So that alone made me feel uneasy about Keppel DC REIT, and so I avoided investing in Keppel DC REIT. And now apparently valuation has come down, right? The research houses have ascribed lower valuation to Keppel DC REIT now. After saying bye for so many years, apparently is due to the higher interest rate environment and also a host of customer defaults. Right, customers have been defaulting, and so the DPU has also come down, and valuation has come down. I think this holds a valuable lesson for us, investors, about not chasing the hype, and to stay grounded, right, and to expect the unexpected, if that makes any sense, right? So anyway, this is just something that I read in the news and what I recall writing about Keppel DC REIT in the past. If you're eavesdropping, take what you want from this, and if AK can talk to himself, so can you. Bye bye.